Oh, what's that? There in Sunman, Indiana, or whatever, the school had direct access. You know, the principal could go change the lights whenever. So if they took a day off or their hours changed, their lights updated with their time change. You know, it was real nice. It had some little web interface that somebody in the office could control the lights.
Oh,
But Claremont County has it managed by some outfit in Finland. It's like, that makes no sense. And they pay big money for that.
big one.
It seems like a waste.
Ah, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just here. So apparently I have new microcontrollers at the house. She says it's a tiny package.
Did you come around on 275 there, Steve? How was the traffic? Was it?
Going 80 miles an hour the whole way.
Really? I was like, it came to a dead stop almost at Shenandoah. I got off at Shenandoah. That's why I was curious. He was saying that he had trouble getting in and out for Micro Center, so
Micro Center was just it was right past Mosteller. It was just Mosteller was the spot.
I was like, I never tried to get the 75 at Mosteller at this time of day. Get off at Mosteller and come up to that road.
I usually do. It didn't this one.
Well, I didn't know if that had to do with 471 South being closed. That's what all the signs were saying. They were routing everybody over to 71, 75 South or what?
You're saying that's going to be about 4 months to fix for the southbound, northbound's working.
Have you seen the pictures of the high beams sagging?
Yeah, that's impressive.
Well, I don't understand why they put all that rubber underneath there on the playground. I didn't even realize they put a playground underneath it. That's just dumb. Figured somebody probably set it on fire on purpose, but said they just laid all that rubber down within the week.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
And it was 4.5, 5 inches of that shredded rubber I put down on the playground.
Hobbyists use that as rocket fuel.
Yeah. But also gets hot enough to melt steel, so. And people were like, how did a car fire melt that iodine? But car fire doesn't get that hot. So the playground is full of shredded rubber. Okay, when that rubber gets that hot. So Friday morning when I went to this movie opera house for lunch on Fridays, they had 471 North closed the whole length. It's like I didn't understand that. I just figured there was some wreck on it or something, and we got up to the opera house, and our waiter was like, "Did you guys see the fire at 471?" I'm like, "No, what are you talking about?" But then why they got 471 North closed if you can get all the way to Newport? If we wouldn't have had to find a Jimmy Jack way around. Couldn't we just put up a sign that says no through traffic, bridge closed? Or
Yeah. Please go around, go around, go around.
Well, so they had a cruiser just sitting in the middle of the right lane. With flashing lights, and it was like, what the hell are you doing, you idiot? When we get around them, they had no cones or anything, but then like when we get to where the 471 split was, they had it walled off with the like wooden slacker barrier or whatever. And so I just figured they must have had a really bad wreck up there,
Right,
but that's all it was, is the bridge was closed. They should have let traffic police go up to Newport. The lead could get off and go across and take one of the other smaller bridges or something.
Yeah, but the vast majority of traffic
Understand that
crosses there.
similar or something.
They didn't want a whole bunch of people getting down to the last exit before they realized, no, I can't cross. And going through the crossing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it'd been 12 hours and thought they could have had a sign up that said, hey, bridge closed,
Didn't realize it was closed at home.
Yeah, it was on fire at like 2 in the morning or something. Or 10 hours, better. No time to get treatments. It was real funny because when we came back, they had all kinds of trees. They had it all walled off and the lane closed for the exit instead of just this cop sitting in the highway.
well. Franklin has been doing road work for the past year and a half now.
Mhm.
It's getting there. But
You need any.
this year, or this past 3 months or so, they've started work on Second Street. While they're still doing work on Main Street. Second Street's it's a 4-lane road, it's a major road. And they've closed it down to one road in some, or one lane in some spots and 2 lanes in other spots. And they got weaving in and out, and they have had more wrecks than I care to count because nobody understands what they're doing. Well, because it goes down to Main Street. And Main Street's still being worked on. You can't use Main Street to get around Second Street. So you're stuck either in the traffic on Main Street. Or you're stuck in the traffic on Second Street. It's just a nightmare. I don't understand. I mean, they've had this plan for a while, and I don't understand why they didn't finish one before they started the other.
Because they're scheduled
and then
the other one's running behind.
They paved Second Street, and it's really, really nice. It took them a while, took them 4 or 5 days to do it. I didn't understand why they did it during the day. I was like, there's hardly any traffic at night. Why don't you just shut everything down at night?
Yeah.
But whatever, they did it. A day later, they came along and dug a big hole in Second Street to fix something. And I'm like, why didn't you fix that before you paved?
So, like where I live, the street next to us to get out of our area, they paved it. Literally paved it.
Yeah.
And then next day closed it to cut 2 culverts and put them in. So now, brand new street, and we got 2 because they threw down rocks and crap, we have 2 trenches across it for culverts.
I get it
and then bragged in the township paper how great of a deal they got to have those culverts installed.
Right.
Now they've paved that thing across it, or had to go back there and fix that like 5 times because it keeps sinking in,
Well, I get, if a water main broke or something.
Oh, no, this
Right. But,
Creek
but no,
culvert.
this was
Should have
planned.
been done first, yeah.
This was planned. Okay, we're going to pave the road and now we're going to cut a big hole in the road and
Fix the
put,
pipe.
put metal plates on the brand new paved road. On the
That's to
gorgeous,
protect it.
on the gorgeous brand new paved road.
Well, that's like, that's the other thing, so like, the other way to town. They scheduled, they're replacing the bridge. So. They postponed the start by a week so that crews can come in and cut all the trees away. Because I guess the trees were too close for the street work
Right.
to work at where they were gonna put this bridge. They didn't put any warnings or notice. There's no other way around. You gotta, so you drive 5 miles into town and then turn around and have to drive back out. Cause there's no signage saying that the road's closed.
Right.
Now,
That's nice.
DOT law for Ohio requires that they have
Yeah,
a sign that the road's closed and have a detour put up, and they still don't have anything. So the bridge is out till December, and there's no signage.
that's,
And I'm like, how do you know, you got it on the other side where you're in town.
see, if you're going through Franklin right now. And you don't know Franklin, I can
Yeah.
get around pretty well. But anybody that 73
Yeah.
is a major road, and anybody that's just traveling won't know how to get around.
Right,
There's no signs. There's just arrows that say road, this lane's closed.
yeah.
I'm like, that is about as stupid as you can get.
Well, that's what ticked me out is, and that's why I looked at what the laws were for Ohio, was because the village parked one of their trucks across to block the road. You know, while the tree work guys there, well, the tree guys should have known that they needed to put up
Mhm.
signage. But now that they're working on the bridge guys should have put up a detour at this point, but they don't. And so like when I went to lunch with my dad Monday, they've taken out another bridge in town on the back road that wheels you around and get past it. And there was nothing. That is like, you came around the thing, there's 3 cones on the edge of a 15-foot drop off.
Nice.
I'm like, what the hell is that?
Mine's not, Franklin's not so bad, but there's no signs anywhere.
I mean,
that say-
yeah, I mean, I turned on that street, there was nothing. I mean, like, you could just drove, if it wasn't, if those 3 cones got blown over that lip, you just drive right on off the,
At best, it says road work ahead.
you know.
Okay, there's road work ahead, but there's no sign that says where or, you know, turn here to avoid road work.
Yeah, well, and that's what's funny, so this is literally in front of the graveyard, so you don't have to go far once you drive off the cliff. You're already there.
I don't get,
But yeah, I thought that was nuts. I mean,
I don't
put
get,
up a barrier, cones, or I mean, barrels, or a, you know, something, you know, a regular little freaking street cone like that is.
but the only thing that I can even think is that, because they were doing work on the water lines for a while, and that's why they came back and paved it. But the only thing I can even imagine was
Problem with it.
the water line. They never really finished it. And they had contracted the paver to come and pave it before everything was done.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that too.
Because
That, or they didn't pack the pipe right and it's sinking and it's
something,
caused a crack in the pipe.
when they put the new pavement on,
Yeah,
yeah, and that's possible. Who knows? There were so many I mean, they had basically every 4 or 5 foot, there was a patch of something, and most of the patches were sinking, so
yeah.
it needed to be
They
paved.
probably did run a compactor on the dirt. And,
It needed
the
to
paver
be paved, but
yeah.
it's just so stupid. We're going to spend the money and pave the road and make it really, really nice and flat,
A week or 2.
and come back and dig a big hole in the brand new paved road.
They'll be going after the roadworks for that.
Somebody did not plan well.
Well, they should repave it.
They should, but it will be
If the
another
water-
patch.
The, no, the waterworks should have to. You know. Get to resurface through the stretch.
At least part of it. The part that they, a big section of it that they, you know, sort of
Smooth it back out.
that- I don't know. But,
Nobody warranties for that.
so we had. Long ago, it's probably been a year now, we had that big fire in the apartment complex. And that's when they realized they had a water problem, because the hydrant, there's two hydrants in the complex.
Yeah.
But neither one of them had enough pressure
Spider.
to supply any kind of water to the fire. And
Building all the houses and not upgrading them.
well, the fire, it turns out it was broken, and the water main had actually broke, but it was one of those breaks that it's still there and water's still going, but when you put a load on it, it goes this way
Right.
and this
Yeah.
way.
Well,
And
anybody monitoring should have known that it was,
yeah, well, they should have, but
oh, buddy, they come out there where I'm at and I mean, they are all over that.
well, see, they came and tested, and of course they got water out of the hydrant, so it wasn't under a load or anything. They said, okay, good. Then when the idiot ran over one of the hydrants and knocked it off, they, of course, put a new hydrant in, tested, and it looked like it was good, but when it came right down to the crunch time, when they actually needed it to work, they could not get the pressure off, like it just,
Sucked too much air.
or something.
Seal.
They had 3 pumper trucks hooked up to one hydrant to try to pull enough water through this thing, so. I mean, eventually they
No, that probably
did it,
broken one if there was.
well, but it was already broke.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have needed that many pumper trucks if it had been working right. But yeah, it probably didn't help that they were, you know, hook more up, but what is he gonna do if the place is burning to the ground
Yeah.
and he can't get water pressure?
Yeah.
So
And-
increase the water pressure. We're doing it. There's no water coming out. Okay, well, we'll hook the pumpers up and we'll just
Stop
pull
that and
it through.
blow the pipe.
I mean,
Needed to be replaced probably 20 years ago.
well, it probably needed to be replaced. Yeah, at least when the guy hit the one hydrant and knocked it off, they probably should have opened up everything and looked then, but no, they got water through it. It's gotta be good. If you get water, it's gotta be good.
Well, it's fine for standard pressure, but if they're vacuum pumping. The pipes are probably too bad for that.
Well, that's what started the whole thing, and then it cascaded. When they started, you know, they fixed that problem. But then a pipe down the
Oh,
line,
yeah, because
cracked.
they're all
because
60 years old and
it's
they're all.
1,000 years old.
Yeah.
And then a pipe upstream cracked, and it was like, oh. So now they got holes here and here and here and here. And in one of the neighborhoods, that's on the other side of us. They started having problems all because of, they figured it out because of this one
Yeah.
thing, but they've got so many roads tore apart. The side roads I'm not as worried about, but the main roads that they got tore apart, it's just stupid how they've done it. I mean,
Took out our porch or whatever to redo the sewer line. Or the septic tank or whatever. And they, so all this piping they took out. I don't know. Being a metallurgy person and all, I would have never dreamed the pipe that old, or you know, made of iron and steel and stuff like that, would shatter like glass. You can take the pipe and just toss it down and shatter like a jar. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Cause it's just so corroded and
It's broken.
yeah, it's so brittle, when it was just done, I was like, that's insane.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, it's been. Well, with. They needed to do the water and it was kind of an emergency sort of deal, but with the construction going on down on Main Street. And the water, and now the paving, and now they're opening the road back up, it's just like, oh God, are they ever going to finish this? Is this ever going to actually be fixed?
That's the thing I thought was funny, if you've ever seen, or been in Amelia, but. So Amelia dissolved themselves 2 or 3 years ago. After they dissolved themselves, they actually came in and fixed everything.
Well, that was good,
right? So like all the rainwater, all their sewers were clogged, all their plumbing was shot. The road 125 had been shot for,
yeah,
needed to be paid for 5 years. They did all the plumbing, replaced all the things, fixed all the sewers, and then repaved the road. I mean, it's phenomenally awesome. Like, there's not 3 feet of water on the road anymore when it rains. I mean, you can drive right through town now. The road's smooth.
we've got
All that because they dissolved the village.
we've got a place on Second Street that gathers rainwater, especially if it's heavy. To their credit, they have fixed it. But not really. If the rain falls really hard and really fast, it still gathers way too fast.
Yeah.
But they've done what
Drains.
they've done what they can do with it. It was just poorly designed to start with. It's the point where 2 downhill slopes meet and water from both slopes goes way too fast into this little divot that
Yeah.
it eventually it ate the divot out so that it was just water gathered there. But they came along and they put one of those big steel plates that slotted steel plates that drain right into and that helped, but it's still not.
Well,
It's-
there's only so much you can pump time to.
If it happens really fast, it just doesn't do anything. Like yesterday, I was driving along and I drove through this big car in front of me, drove through this big puddle and I had nothing but water and couldn't see where I was going. And I was like, oh, that sucks.
You guys got enough rain to.
Yeah.
It didn't do much more than this that way.
It
Drizzle.
rained, well, it rained pretty. It was decent. It wasn't great. I mean, it had been trying to rain all day. And then all of a sudden, when it just opened up, it poured. But so, what's going on, Mr. Vicente? We haven't seen you in a while.
I was on vacation.
You must have taken a better vacation than I did, because I was only gone for 2 weeks.
With my wife. Plan the vacations. I get to move. I like my projects. This week, there are people around trimming the trees and removing a couple of them are dead. So it's noisy all day.
The day we drove back from Myrtle Beach, we pulled on our street, there's like 14 tree trucks. And we had taken out almost every tree that was even remotely close to a power line, all the way down the road. We didn't know they were gonna do all that.
They cut a big one and we fell in all the house. Yeah. Huge.
Yeah. I wish I had a picture of it.
I didn't bring that. I meant to bring that. Because I was going to give it to you.
Okay.
My wife found that in a change machine at
We call
Kroger's.
it the strong, fuerte. It's a fuerte. In Spanish, fuerte means strong.
Strong. I looked it up. I think it's worth about 12 cents.
pass for a quarter? Or is it pass for a dime?
It's a 5 cent piece,
Oh, is it a pass?
or
The size of
Okay,
this.
that was close.
maybe it's a 5. I don't know.
Whatever the currency is.
I looked up
It was tight
Bolivar.
because we
5 pesos.
did this paving here,
Mhm.
and they use
So
back
five
to
Mexican dollars for,
That's
Venezuela.
Venezuela.
oh,
That's why I was gonna give it to him.
remove it because it's very close to the house. They put another one, small one.
When she first handed it to me, I thought it was Mexican, and I said, "Oh,
Did you
cool.
get to keep the
It ain't
wood?
worth anything."
Did you get to keep the
Then
wood?
I looked it up and I was like, "Oh,
It's several,
Venezuelan, and it's
but-
still not worth
really,
anything.
because this is the second one. They remove
Well,
another
the-
one.
It's worth 12 cents."
So,
And they remove
in
the
the
cherries around the shed.
we went out to, my aunt
Big
and uncle
cherries.
lived in
Mhm.
San Diego.
And
And
I
next door
took,
neighbor, you remember it was
pieces
80s,
of
or
land.
something like
but
that.
it dry,
Mexico reset their
try to
currency,
carve something.
so anything pre-86 was like 100,000 pesos to a
Yeah,
penny or
yeah.
something like that. So they gave us like $500,000 pesos, we were like a quarter.
This is-
And,
they have
just as a
books,
souvenir thing,
to-
and then,
Okay.
man, that's kind
but
of
you don't know what is
interesting, you
inside.
know, and then
It's
when
blind.
Clinton got in and basically trashed the Mexican peso again.
blind,
Okay, that's
just,
interesting.
no, you just
Two or
take it
300,000 pesos.
and you see at home whatever it is.
Mm. You got pretty narrow interests in books.
So my pesos aren't
They,
even worth
they,
a
they,
penny.
they give you some hints. here,
I've-
I think.
I've got a few pesos, but it's more of a
But you don't have a title,
curiosity
yes.
kind of thing.
Well, I
Oh,
like
wow,
coin
it
collecting,
showed- they showed up.
you know. I don't mind collecting coins, but I think it's funny when they think like that, so.
How they
It's-
work. With ropes
You get
and,
the
It's not
Yeah.
often that you see,
$100,000.
and
it's not often that you
Paper bill.
see,
Take down
Venezuelan
slowly.
coins show up at Kroger, so.
Yeah. Well, depends on what Kroger's.
Well, I guess that's true.
I mean, there's probably a lot of Haitian stuff around Lockland right now.
I made, 2 days ago, I made.
Or, I'm sorry, not what, those are Haitians are in Springfield.
A faceplate.
Lockland's, East Africa.
Just last night for my wife. Phone.
Somebody was saying the other day,
Phone holder, you know?
there's
Mhm.
like 60% of Lockland now is from Africa, illegal immigrants.
The family, you know.
I mean, I could see that maybe
My wife.
because years ago, this guy was
I was trying to figure out
extremely,
how the speed and
extremely intelligent.
power.
He was here to you.
have
Yeah.
the color and the pine.
He was having computer problems and I went down to his house because
I
we
think
could
it's,
not figure it out.
Mhm.
It was actually his
It's basically
network
what's
that was a
trying-
problem,
This is
but
materials, silver
he spoke
plastic
like 6 different languages.
and.
But he could only really read French.
One-way mirrors.
That was, so
No,
his
you can
computer was
choose
set up in French.
white over black or silver
I can't read.
over black
I-
or silver.
You've got to fix this.
Well, you should.
I don't know French.
Different materials,
Okay,
different color, red, green,
And
they call it laser.
And
and it took
label.
him a couple of seconds. He said, I don't understand what it's saying to me.
Also, they have three layers.
It's a good
One,
thing.
two
I
colors,
understand
two
what
colors.
it's saying.
You change the.
But between the two
power
of them,
and
Yeah.
with different colors.
Oh, no, that,
This is
We
white,
got it
this is
working
white
and
over black.
it was a network issue specifically to his building. That's why we couldn't troubleshoot when he brought us the computer.
Even they said,
It
nothing
worked.
wrong with
Feel
the
the phone,
But-
you can cut the lines, different
He
power.
was a metal worker. He worked somewhere over in that area. They lived down in Rockland and he was one of the smartest guys I ever met. And I'm like, why do you work? Why are you doing labor? And they pay me like $30 an hour to do this, and I'm like. You know what $30 means to us? I send 90% of it back home and live like a king here. I'm like, okay. It's like, that's why he was working labor, because I was like, you're smart enough, you could do almost anything you want.
Well, I'd probably be making 100 or something if we were more good.
Yeah, but he was like, I'm making really, really good money, and I'm sending a lot of it
cash stock to
home so that I could get
test
my people, my family over here.
Well, they flew in, I don't know how many.
So
There was an article, if you can look up in like June or July or something like that, that 1,000 of them showed up at the level 1 food bank and cleaned it out.
I have the
I don't-
air, they
I
have.
don't have a, I mean, if you're legal,
Air, but pump,
illegals,
because
they're the problem. That's the
it's
problem.
better to use
So,
a flow of air and keep it in the laser, just to immediately.
but they were saying
Pull
that
out
that's for the
material
process,
after the,
Okay, yeah,
you know,
to avoid
that's
this
a lot of
carbon
population, that's a lot of houses.
things
that's a
around
lot of
the.
food.
I can see it swirling against you too.
It's clear.
Good ones.
I have this. This thing.
Mhm.
Iowa State's getting
with
stupid.
the-
We've done house investment company that are buying, gobbling it all up.
The problem was that when the air is blowing,
Yeah,
after you blow square, for example, it blows away and may fell down over a back for a Scott. So
yeah,
will be.
I was very impressed. with
Mhm.
this.
Material is moving around.
He was well spoken.
This is with the.
He knew what he was talking about. He knew
Plastic repair.
all kinds of stuff, but he could only read French. Okay.
Probably would have grew up in. And then you really spoke whatever the villages and stuff you grew up in too, because that's like India.
It was in
You're familiar with that.
Germania, it's a club,
India has 18 languages,
German club.
Okay,
Okay.
Germania.
plus
okay.
they're trained English, so
Out of the
each
city.
village has,
They had
you know, so they might know
Christmas
their
fair.
language, the next
They
two
sell
or three village
kind of stuff
languages, plus
in
English, plus
preparation of
whatever they
Christmas.
studied
I was checking this.
high school or college.
Yeah. Well, I think that's how it was in Africa too.
Yeah.
But it's not laser.
You learn English,
It's a bit,
and you learn like
use
maybe
a
French,
CNC.
whoever settled that
They
that
were
area.
doing the French, but they were trying to take them over by
The race is always the shape of the beat.
like South Africa.
Yeah.
French took over large parts of that, and
It's no
they
laser.
lost,
It's-
Britain,
Yeah,
Britain took over most of the territories,
They made it two pieces and then let's
World War
between
II.
them.
probably weren't both.
well, kind of like certain parts of Canada was speak French, because
It was French
it
territory.
was French territory.
You go through the airport and you speak English, they speak French. If you speak French, they speak English.
That's nice of them.
Yeah.
They do it on purpose too, don't they?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I have a cool story about going through customs in Canada at one point.
And they say they're not a spiteful culture.
Hey. I only ever remember going to Canada. I was 7 or 8 years old. And we were in Detroit for some reason. Dad said, "You want to go to another country?" And I was like, "Okay." And we drove across the border, and nobody gave us a hard time. You didn't need a passport or
Yeah,
anything.
you still don't need a passport.
Advanced driver's license.
Yeah. Yeah,
Passport.
as of 2 years ago. Just a normal driver's license would still get you in.
By you tonight.
No,
Depends on where you cross.
at Niagara Falls.
Because
Yeah.
you couldn't in Washington State, you rather have And the administrator passport. Because I wanted to go to Stargate or Gatron. When I was out there last time, but you had to have an advanced license and I didn't have an advanced license yet, so.
Yeah,
And they were like, no. I'm like, no, you gotta be kidding me.
yeah, I think it depends on where you're at.
Yeah.
I usually.
Well,
There's-
now you have to have it. all.
Chinese, you'll be.
There's an island up there somewhere that's half
half
on the Canadian side and half on
Flashlight, you'll be.
US.
It's fast.
And there's people that live and work in both,
that's cool.
and I know they raise three kinds of hell about needing to report to the passport bureau
Yeah.
to
License.
just go to work.
It's so stupid.
It's so
It's
stupid.
never been a problem all these decades. I kind of understand when where they're flooding across and stuff in Mexico or something, but. It really wasn't even a thing on the Canadian border up until. 2017 or 18.
Was it that way? I thought it was more earlier than that.
Once,
started
once Trump clamped down on the south border, they started crossing on the north border.
Okay. I thought it was a little earlier than that. Yeah, it's so stupid. We should be able to just go and visit.
Well, is there any N5 stack update?
Yeah,
They're creating stuff all the time.
I haven't made anything recently, but I have a couple of the new M5 stacks coming in. They should be here soon. Well, the one's been sitting at the post office for a while. I'm gonna have to get at them after. So I have. I have one of these large language model units coming in, which is interesting. And I have one of these timer units coming, which is sitting at the post office. I don't know why.
Did you did anything with the motors?
I can't find anything decent to do with those
Yeah.
motors.
It's something strange. It's speed, but no position really, right?
Yeah, no, well, sorta, right. And if you watch the couple of videos I've made, you can actually see it. It does actually go past where I tell it to and then goes back. So. But I got one of these coming, one of these camera kits coming. And that's my update for M5 stack stuff.
What's your large language model one or what? Like
It's an offline large language model.
it's like an extended instruction set or like AI modeling.
It's connected to a server or?
No, it's offline.
It's 30 feet on board.
Google. Okay. I think it's a little Linux machine that attaches to the ESP. They actually do a demo. So there's.
Hello. It's a nice day today. We should go outside.
It's like an Alexa to go.
There's like 4 different models that I think are built in or you could load on to the SD card.
So they're, I was just saying, they're right now. A large model.
The price was 49. Next.
Load my large model onto the storage. I was just here for just those big stuff.
I'm kind of interested.
Interesting. Kind of what you used it for. It's still working probably this time with most things.
This is kind of the thing that I'm kind of interested in, having a terminal typing in something,
Hello.
seeing what it says.
Turn on the light.
Look, it turned on the blue light.
Hello. Turn off the light. Hello. How many days are there in a year? However.
Which year?
Which year? I think I've seen $49.
Yeah.
Plus the cost of the core, which is another $40. So it's, damn near $100 worth of in 5 years.
That's still.
But I have plenty of cores, so I didn't have to buy another core.
This is a plugin for the core.
Do I?
It's a plugin, it's not a full system.
No, you plug a core onto it.
Still not really bad for,
$100.
Yeah, $100.
I mean,
You need,
if you can load an LLM
You
on
have to add those display and several buttons and SPC too.
yeah,
to do it on a PC, you need a 30-some gig video card, so.
Those are getting smaller. The language models.
yeah, actually.
Well,
if
they
you-
have smaller, but the nice ones are the LLMs, from what I
But
understand.
the LLMs that have this many words they recognize are fitting in smaller and smaller memory as they get optimized.
Yeah,
Well,
and if you read
I
here,
figured a lot of
there's,
that is because the newer generation video cards have less RAM on them.
well, if you read here, there's certain LLMs that it can use.
Yeah.
Which are the smaller LLMs.
Because we probably still need something for the US and everything on there.
Yeah, and
They're not real LLMs,
they're
they're mini LLMs.
Raspberry Pi LLMs.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just
Some-
kidding. I've
somewhere-
been tinkering with them a little bit and getting ready to build an AI thingy, so I was. Kind of what this box is thinking of doing with the box, but one was tempted to turn with my other one with the smaller video card in it. But there's a tier difference between what LLMs I can load, because that video card doesn't have as big of a video.
So
In the future, we
Would
will.
you like a P40,
right here,
P40,
NVIDIA P40?
how much RAM is that? Is that 40 gig?
24 gig of DDR5. I mean, they're still selling for $400.
The several year we
That's
will be
better
talking to the car,
the
to
video
the phone, to
Yeah.
to the
What-
watch, the glasses, hey, darker.
in a couple of weeks, I'll have the large language model running the meeting for us. So, but right there, that's kind of a little bit of a disappointment. See, it requires, you've got to take your large language model and turn it into the format that it recognizes, which probably strips out a bunch of
So fit.
garbage, yeah.
Stuff I can't, well, as I say, I figured you'd have to do something, because I wouldn't think there'd be enough processing power there to.
But they give you
But
plenty.
if you, like I said, it's like, there's still applications for something that's small.
Look here. It's got ADV tools, so this thing I think it's probably running Android.
Yeah. Like
You
that,
just-
on Alexa.
Yeah. You just don't see it. It's just
Yeah.
there. But
Well, that's why I was just curious. Saw something this week that I was kind of curious about, there's a doctor thing or something like a homeless automation. Or, what was it called?
Home automation?
Yeah, it's like a self-contained internal version of Alexa. That you can
Okay.
run on a Linux model.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually don't need the internet, so you can automate your house. And have voice command, and it's not going out to the internet, it interfaces with like everything.
Yeah,
So it doesn't matter, you don't have to, like, if you got your Wise terminal or your, what's it, YESD camera. Doesn't have to split out to the internet app and then come back, it actually cuts it off and interfaces directly to it.
mhm,
So you don't have to use, the 20 different apps to use all your smarter IoT stuff. And it can't phone home if you quarantine it, and it all talks to you.
Yeah.
That's what I've been wanting for ever.
that's home automation.
Yeah,
HA is pretty sweet.
You play with it?
Mhm.
Okay.
I've got it working.
I kind of thought somebody was,
It's,
I just don't remember. I've never seen it in use before until it.
and that's kind of what this thing does too. It's an offline thing that you can program
All in the
do something.
But you gotta program all. I liked what he's got or whatever, where it's all you just like, oh, hey, go find this. Hey, go
but
find
you
that.
can have this talk to HA.
And HA still can be programmed, especially if it doesn't know what the device is.
Yeah, I picked up a new no-elect radio because it can talk to the sensors that were on my doors when I moved in. They're old GE 315 megahertz things. And that seems to be working really well. Some of them still have usable batteries.
Yeah.
If you look at this, it really does just talk over UART to the ESP32. So you're right, you probably could just hook up any old thing you want. You probably don't even need a screen. You probably just need a way to send it to command that it wants.
Well, that's, I thought would be what I would really like to do.
And power, you need power.
Well, I want to get like a home control system, like this kind of thing, and then tie it to like the cell phone proximity thing. Like either open the garage door or you drive around to the back of the house that it opens the garage door automatically or something. Or unlock the front door because you're walking up to it with the cell phone.
So M5, they release new stuff every Friday, every other Friday. So I checked their website at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And there were plenty of them available. By the time I woke back up at 6 o'clock in the morning, they were down to 8. By the time I had it in my cart and getting ready to check out, they had sold out. So I bought one, but I bought it from AliExpress and I actually paid probably a little bit less because their shipping was a little bit less.
Yeah.
But I'm like, everybody wants this thing because it
Well,
went
like I said,
quick, and I was like, I should have bought it at 2 o'clock in the morning.
that's what I figured anybody that's really into this stuff doesn't want to have to use internet
It's
stuff.
like a Black Friday,
Yeah,
every Friday.
But that's
I'm actually really kind of thrilled. I would really want to play with this thing. And that's going to be AliExpress is doing weird stuff. It looks like it's here in the States, but I don't think it is because the delivery times keep changing on it.
some aren't. It's what they got in supply local.
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, I think they're getting ready. They can charge more in America, right? So we're normally pay it.
Actually, I logged in this afternoon, and there was a couple of Lily Go chips, microcontrollers. That said they would be shipped from the States, and they were like $12, but you could only buy one. $48 if you wanted to buy more than one, and I'm like. Well, of course I'm going to buy one because it's $12, it's cheap. And if it's in the States, all the better, but. I'm not paying $48 for something I can get for 12.
Well, and so my 7820 I bought, like talked it there, him or told Steve Linux that I bought a pair of $13.99 Xeon chips for $13 off AliExpress. That ships from Illinois.
Okay,
Because they're scrapping our computers here, and then they're pulling all these chips instead of melting them down, they're reselling the chips. But I was like, I got to thinking, I was afraid to, because it was said it was coming from China. And I was like, but I was like, here in the States, they want $100 a chip. And I was like, if I can get it from AliExpress for 13, I got the pair for 13, and they shipped from Illinois. I was like, what the crap, And now they're like $50 or $60 on AliExpress, and it's like, that doesn't make sense.
well, this,
Running out of them here.
Yeah,
this was, AliExpress does those promo deal every now and then where they give you like a huge discount on stuff. That's what this was.
yeah.
But
But they just want to.
they usually don't give it to
For
people
sure.
that are
You-
already customers. They usually,
Sometimes they do like those little hot sales, like a Amazon
yeah,
kind of thing, and they'll let you have one.
yeah,
Okay.
what?
Well, because that's how I got my 10 gig switch. Or my 2.5 gig switch, or my 8-port 2.5 gig switch for like $30.
I
10 gig.
I have been actually doing something semi-useful. Maybe. I've been, the SDR radios that I had brought in here and tried to show off. Steve's just got a computer shop in his bag.
He's got cool toys. He's always got cool toys. You got another fiber thing.
Well,
What's this? This a 10?
Oh no, these are 40s.
40s. You're not gonna even afford to plug this into anything. You giving me a pair of these and saying, you'll get my own 40 switch now?
And they can sell me your 10/2.5.
Fiber channel.
Well, that's the thing, he's giving me those, but I don't have any fiber.
I've got fibers.
They keep saying that, but I haven't gotten any yet.
You notice, he just pulls more and more stuff.
Oh,
That bag is like the
It's a
TARDIS.
bag of holding.
It's like the TARDIS. It's endless bag of stuff.
I went and hung out with Steve for a weekend, I'd be in real trouble. My closet would be bad. But I'd have some cool toys.
The baby ones.
Maybe it's a key holder?
Was this an RJ45?
SFP plus. But those are just gigabit, but that's the inside
Just-
of one of
They're,
those.
they're just gigabit. They're just.
Well, I mean, even that'd be kind of nice, because they've got SPF ports and stuff, but I mean, I'm trying to get 2.5.
I mean,
Or 10.
I know we're much faster, but my router still only has gigabit ports on it.
Yeah, well, that's
It's just gigabit.
the 7820 or 7920 I want to buy has dual 10 gigs on it. And it's like, well, that's kind of crazy, because I'm just trying to get to 2.5. But a 10 gig for home is
Receiver
stupid.
31, tracking a non-injury traffic crash. 505 West Central Avenue.
That's being streamed from my house.
Oh,
Can you talk back?
No.
well, you could. For a small nominal fine, some possible jail time.
So who's transmitting unencrypted? Or are you decrypting?
No,
It's a 2013 Ford F-150
That
white color
is-
Honda Civic. They pulled into the tattoo parlor parking lot.
just hush.
Advised the
I
other
don't-
vehicle
I don't
is in the
think
roadway,
it's-
in the roadway, but they're trying to move it to the same spot.
Oh, you're pointing back.
PD primary one is Warren County North Sheriff's Department.
Okay,
Um,
I'm
F-
surprised
F-
that any law stuff is unencrypted at this point.
it all is except for drug enforcement and, they do, like if they're running an extremely personal check,
Mhm.
then they will switch over to unencrypted. And we can't, unencrypt. So borough one is Springboro.
Too much in the background. Some coffee.
Yeah, too much wind, you think? You're standing around in the wind. FRK is Franklin. And you'll see Carlisle doesn't talk much.
I'm currently on the bike, for Springboro and Beckworth. I'll head back to the cruise TV and head down that way.
I've got, because I live in Franklin, I've got Franklin PD says as priority, so it should just take over.
Juvenile, second point of.
Warren County talks a lot, but it's a decent area, so there's a lot of sheriffs. But every now and then you'll get, fire traffic and other stuff. So this is all unencrypted. This is running on a program, fairly easy to set up. It's trunk. Trunk. I knew it until I said it. SDR trunk. That's what it was. And Open Megahertz is a kind of an open platform versus radio reference, which they're more of a closed system and they want you to pay for certain things. Of course, you get all your talk groups and all that stuff that you need from radio reference, then stream to somebody else. But it's fairly simple to set up. It takes 2 SDRs to actually do it.
Why?
Well,
One to listen broadband and one to get specific frequencies
kind of.
when it sees noise somewhere.
So, OP25, which is what I started with, it works a little bit different. It will use, in this area, it can use 1 SDR when it gets when the control frequency hears a channel that I want to listen to, it switches and it can't listen to the control channel again until whatever it's listening to is done talking, and then it switches back to the control channel.
Okay,
SDR trunk uses 1 SDR to constantly monitor the control channel. So it, in theory, could listen to 2, 3, 4 different stations at a time because it could switch. It doesn't, but the way I've got it set up, it will only use 1 SDR to pick up the stuff, and 1 SDR is just listening to the control channel.
okay.
I don't particularly like that, but that's the way it works and it doesn't. If you had a very wide band, SDR, supposedly, if you had more of a wide band, you could use one SDR with SDR trunk. But in this area, the frequency spacing is so much that the wide band doesn't work. It's not wide band enough with the SDRs that I have. So it's a fun little project. It didn't take much to set it up. It took me longer to figure out why it wasn't working than it did to actually set it up. So it was working, but it wasn't streaming.
Okay,
The current version of SDR trunk refused it would connect to open megahertz for a little bit and then it would drop the connection and it refused to reconnect. But the nightly builds fix that, so I don't know why the nightly builds the aren't the real build, but so if you actually go and download, or if you try to do this, if you want to play with it, download the nightly build. Don't download the regular.
this does much better close-ups on it. I use this for eating chips and stuff. I do. I mean, it is amazing for that.
Check the light on.
I think the camera on these phones is just amazing.
What phone is that?
This is the Edge. It says 50 megapixels. I think that's all of them combined, and then they double.
Have you seen the new 3.4 phone?
Yeah. What? I have no desire for a folding LCD screen.
Yeah, so it's not right over here, but 5,000 something. Yes.
And that's not zoomed in.
Is
Ah.
standard camera or is it not?
No, that's the camera. This has a macro lens on it. It's got one normal, one macro, and I don't know what the third one is.
I have a marking. But where you turn on the left?
Oh, mine automatically turns on the light. And it remembers that, which I kind of like. The one bad thing about it is that I just. Got a minute. Here, hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Use the close-up camera.
Not bad. I usually leave the light off. Yeah.
Without the light.
That's not bad. It's not really centered. It's not bad. That's my problem. I don't have the optimal focus.
We do. It's the same camera. Or even focus closer.
When I do this at the house, I don't. I need to do what you do. I need to build me a little jig or something to stick my camera on.
I've got a box. Actually, that box that this thing came in is almost exactly the right size. But even in this, I can zoom in somehow. I don't know. But yeah,
That my problem is I usually hold my thing and I work really hard. And what you did works great. That's beautiful. Yes, us people on our fancy phones, in our phones that in our Android phones.
Yeah, yeah.
Us crazy Android people, you know. Oh, did you guys see Atlas for Halloween?
now. What? I saw
With
them
with a costume or what?
Yeah.
Or did you watch Matthias's clip leads with fake wire?
Yes, I saw that.
Oh, I didn't see this.
Atlas is celebrating Halloween. They put this out on Halloween. He is terrible.
Don't have a problem with big honking robots like that. But once it gets above 5 pounds, it has to have an e-stop button. I'm certain of that. Data would have to have that big red knob.
Yeah. I don't
I
know.
don't know if I'd wanna get close enough to hit the button though. Wireless maybe?
I'm really impressed with what Boston Dynamics does,
Oh, yeah.
but I'm still kind of I mean, even his other video, which was a little longer than the Halloween video, I sit there and look and I'm going, why can't I just pick those things up and put them where they belong? Because it looks like pieces of plastic that he's moving, and I could grab a couple of them at a time and just put them in the spot.
You know, put that in the radioactive core and.
That's a different, that's
Yeah,
a different
You may be
thing.
able to survive longer there than it can.
I'm just watching it and going, it's impressive, but it's also moves kind of slow and clunky. It's not as fast as I would have thought that it could have been.
Certainly wasn't as fast as the drinking bird at stacking boxes, but I don't know what to call that thing. It just reminded me of the ever drinking bird.
Is that in Boston Dynamics?
I think it was, yeah.
Is
It's
that
got wheels, two wheels on legs, and a weight behind it that I assume was the battery pack. And a big suction cup. It was
that
picking
is
up-
For warehouse.
Yeah.
To move boxes.
Yep.
What are they called? Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. I don't know, I'm sitting there, I'm watching. Kroger's in Monroe, they've got a couple of inventory robots,
Mhm.
and I'm watching these things work. And they're really slow, and it's like,
They don't kill people.
Yeah, I think they could move a lot faster than they do.
Oh, yeah.
They've got them set so they don't.
GE's had that stuff since the 80s. But they took them out because people mess with them too much.
The ones GE had were following wires buried in concrete.
Well, yeah, but then they'd still move stuff around and do a
Yeah.
nice job if you take all the
This-
employees out of the way.
these don't move stuff around, these go and they count stuff on the shelves.
Yeah.
And basically tell you if the shelves are empty to go and restock. But they move so slow. I just sitting there, I question what the logic is if
I
they're,
say, well, I didn't know Kirby even messed with anything that wasn't already immediately feed them off the camera.
no, they. Monroe is an interesting story. It's a test bed for new technology, so you probably won't see some of this other. And they may or may not ever put these robots in other stores.
I would say, well, I mean, some of the briefings has had, I don't know where they have it, but one of them, but then they got cameras and the shelves all have weights on it. So
They-
like, if you pick up something, it auto tags and can
They
bill you for it.
they did that in,
And then if you put it off back down on another shelf, it can register that and take it off you.
they did that in Monroe too, and. I guess that system didn't work as well as because they gutted it and got something else. They've tried all kinds of stuff. Monroe is a test bed.
Yeah.
So if you go to Monroe, you're gonna find
Weird stuff
interesting
going on.
things in that store. They've got two of these, two inventory control robots made by different companies. My guess is they're seeing which one's better and maybe going to roll them out to other stores if,
It seems silly to use a robot and you can put a camera in the aisle.
well, it seems silly to use a robot when the store manager roams the store and can walk up and down the aisle a lot faster. Doesn't necessarily need to count the items on the shelf, but can look and say that shelf's empty.
Yeah,
Hey, bring some stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I would think a camera and AI would be that hard to
Yeah,
just filming on the thing. Oh, hey, this got down below
Well, they-
50% threshold. Send the guy out to either service it or.
you'd be surprised how many cameras are in Monroe. There's cameras everywhere.
Cameras on cameras on cameras, just
And some of them are,
but I mean.
like I said, they're testing various things.
Yeah.
And some of the cameras are AI cameras, but these stupid inventory control robots just seem pointless, just,
Well, but then you're developing tech. You never know what the application's gonna end up being, just put advancement and see what it's good for. Or improving, it was like, this might be, baby steps to something else, to like the stock boy, that robot that restocks the shelf for them.
they can kind of do that with some of the robots
Yeah,
now,
well, as I was saying, but does Kroger's have access to those?
maybe.
I mean, you got 15 companies building the same thing right now, right? They're trying to invent what's gonna be the warehouse worker.
Well, Monroe,
That's just in the US.
the warehouse there in Monroe is 99% automated. It uses those stacking robots that carry the food, and then I think they've got a pack robot that puts all the stuff on the trucks, and then the trucks are driven by people, of course.
Yeah, for now.
yeah, for now.
That's
But
been my thing for a while. It's known
There's-
to have drivers.
there's 2 or 3 people that actually sit in the control room and watch these robots move food around all day long, and that's their job, is just to sit there and watch the floor, make sure that the robots don't collide into each other. But it's the same, it's almost the same system that Amazon uses at their warehouses. So it's like 99%.
Well,
98%.
Amazon, they're not on the same,
No,
they're, they're competitors, so
but
they gotta come out with their own version.
it's their version.
Amazon used to buy the companies that are developing anything that they want.
Yeah,
Yeah. they've got
well,
one up.
so does Kroger. Believe it or not, Kroger's got the money to,
Kroger's got one up company bigger than.
if they
Right.
want the technology, they will buy that company.
Kroger's looking to be the competitor to Amazon, and they are pouring money into it.
Yeah.
And they are chopping away at
And
companies left and right faster than you can imagine.
and it's at
And they're
least in
choking
the
off competitors.
food grocery store market, they are,
Eating people's lunch.
oh yeah.
Well, that's why I don't understand, that they're choking out all these distributors and manufacturers, and nobody seems to care.
But
We went into a Publix down there, and the amount of stuff available in a Publix versus a Kroger's, that's not a Kroger brand. It is astronomical. You can see all the old stuff that we used to have,
that's the thing.
5 different brands.
Well, that's the thing with Kroger. They've got like 6 or 7 brands. And a lot of the brands, you wouldn't know they were Kroger unless you knew they
Look
were
them up.
Kroger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying, they've pretty much done quit carrying anybody that is.
I think that's more local. Just because Kroger's started in Cincinnati. It's like Tide. I don't know why Tide costs as much as it does here. But if you go 100 miles away, Tide is normal price.
And so I just find it astonishing, like if you walk in the, like Kroger's or in Eastgate or Beach or Amelia. They don't carry anything anymore that isn't a Kroger brand, right? So like, other than like Jif, right? So they don't, you can't get Skippy, you can't get this, you can't get that, they don't carry variety anymore.
Yeah.
It's their brand or a single name brand. And then there are 3 or 4.
I think
knockoffs.
that's store by store because the Kroger Patty Works at that there's all kinds of name brand stuff in there mixed in with
There
the
aren't a
Kroger.
lot of them anymore. A lot of them are
And there in
almost-
Monroe, there was quite a few name brands mixed in with. the
Well,
Kroger
are they
brand.
name brands or name brands that Kroger's have bought?
Well, I'll put it to you like this, when we buy a name brand, we don't get a discount. When we buy a Kroger brand, we get a discount.
Yeah.
Even if it's
Sometimes
a brand.
it's just the same product, but they ask for a brand.
Yes.
They don't
But-
really
but
buy the company.
Kroger, so Kroger started off doing that, getting brands and rebranding them with their own. They have moved past rebranding, they are producing their own stuff. And they've got a premium brand and a cheap brand and.
Well, it's not the same.
It's very, very similar.
They are very cheap on their cheap brand.
The Amazon
The amount of
chain,
bioengineering.
the Whole Food,
Yeah,
they almost have only the brands. Everything is 386 or something brand, everything. All the shelves are.
well, they all do it. I mean, Walmart has 2 or 3 different brands that you'll see on the store shelves.
Well, but I was saying, you used to be able to go into, like, so for example, Fresh Lights, like the best quality canned good you can buy. Nobody carries it anymore.
I've never heard of.
But like, if you want to buy a canned good, those were the safest food canned good that you could get. Not the canned good good for you, but that was
Yeah,
health wise the best, and nobody carries it anymore. Now
I-
they're almost completely gone under because
I found
no
out.
steroid,
I found out the other day, one of the organic brands that I would never buy, it's a Kroger brand, but I'm like, holy crap, how much stuff does Kroger own? Cause I honestly thought that was its own brand.
Then you got a question, is it really organic or is it just slapping it on there so they can charge you double?
But
That's about how much I trust Kroger.
it's. We actually buy because we get a discount. It's really the only reason. We actually buy a lot of Kroger brand stuff.
Yeah.
10% isn't much, but it's
Well, yeah.
something.
It's still something,
But
that's my problem though, is like,
our bill goes from 100 down to 90. We're all good. I mean, but
if the quality of the food drops in half, or you got twice the chemical or
we
syrup instead of.
we've had a couple of problems, and believe it or not, Kroger actually sent us without prompting or anything, without us bitching and complaining.
Yeah.
Kroger's actually sent an email out that said, hey, this food was substandard, here's a credit. The next time you buy it, you get a free whatever. And I'm like, that's decent. Especially since we already knew that it was bad and we just didn't complain too much. But I don't really have a huge problem with Kroger in general. Of course, Patty works there, so.
Yeah, I understand. But
they, I think it's store by store because.
it could be, well, I mean, they've choked all their competitors out where I'm at, so.
Well, if everybody is buying Kroger brands, then there's no reason to stock anything else.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't they buy the Kroger brand? Because it's half the price of everything else on the shelf.
Until they choke it out
Choke
and
it out,
then
and
they
then it's all you got.
can raise the
You know, it's the
price.
same way, like those little Star Wars diecast toys were like $1.
Yeah.
You know, and then once Toys R Us closed at Eastgate, now they're 12. You know, that's. Yeah.
And on that, if you need anything from Odd Lots in Eastgate, it's closing.
I don't know, we buy, the only real name brand stuff I buy Borelli spaghetti. And we buy Kraft macaroni and cheese, and that's really the only name brand stuff we buy.
Yeah.
And both of those are carried by our store. I would be very sad
Well, and that's.
if
so
my
like,
spaghetti went away. That would be sad.
I was up there yesterday and it's $5 for a bag of Kraft cheese.
Yeah.
And $2 for spaghetti or whatever.
It's
So, I mean, it's like, do I really want to spend $5 for an 8-ounce thing of cheese? No. But. Yeah. Well, that's, another 15-minute drive each way.
seriously.
Okay, so one of the more amusing things that I read on Reddit was this morning. People complain about the cost of things, but then they'll hire a chauffeur to bring them a burrito.
Yeah,
That's
what cracked me up too. Yeah, like you're saying.
Yeah.
It's,
How much does that food cost? It's $8. How much does it cost to have it delivered? It's $7. That's almost as much as the food. Okay, I'm lazy, bring it to me.
I'm just saying, if I'm gonna spend $5 on a pack of cheese to make stuffed peppers. And I go buy the meat and I go buy the peppers, I might as well just go to freaking Longhorn and order a damn steak, cause I'm gonna have that much money into it.
Yeah.
I don't particularly like Kroger's meat.
I'm not a fan
But
at all.
Myers actually has surprisingly good meat.
It's
Yeah.
decent.
Aldi's is okay. Aldi's has some amazing cheese.
Some of Kroger's meat nowadays, though, is not real meat anymore either.
Yeah,
They're
trust
fish.
me.
Yeah.
Trust me,
Well, I was really disturbed by that the other day, reading some of their meat labels. I was like, well,
Yeah, the stuff that Patty buys, I think is probably 90% chemical and
Yeah.
10%
Well,
meat.
but there was a study the other day, like 80% of the meats in the grocery stores now are pink slurry.
Yeah, or I am almost positive that that's what she buys is.
Banned in
That's
the rest of
slurry
the
stuff.
world, but that's in the grocery store is ground beef, and that came into effect in 2018. That they were able to relabel red slurry of ground beef because they're running it through a grinder
I don't,
extruder to
that's,
make it look like it's
that's
ground
one
beef.
reason why I don't like Kroger beef is
Yeah,
but I don't have a problem with their cheese. Their cheese seems like it's decent enough. And their bacon is pretty good. The bacon is what we had a problem with, and they gave us a credit to get another thing of bacon, so. But their bacon seems like it's bacon. It smells like bacon, it tastes like bacon,
Maybe they.
it may be bacon.
maybe they got a good machine for it.
But their ground beef,
High probability.
I don't think it's beef. I think,
But, because probably real bacon in here in Cincinnati because there's so much pig around.
right.
Aldi says very good bacon.
I,
I'd rather just get it from a butcher anymore from the farmer.
Yeah,
It is so much better. It's not fun.
Oh, I know, we've gotten it,
But
the one over at the corner of Colerain and 275.
Monroe used to actually sell bacon at the butcher counter. You could go in and get a slab of bacon.
could you?
They don't do it now.
Nope. Well, that's the guy we eat lunch with almost off and on, and he goes to the same diner. He was a Kroger butcher for like 40 years. So he's retired now, but we don't do that kind of stuff anymore. Really. He's got stories where he took over the butcher shop in like downtown there by UC. And he made all these orders and they thought he was nuts. And then the guy walked in, I don't know if the owner or something in the back, and he turned like a 600% profit increase out of the deli in like 3 months.
There's
He said he ordered lambs and all this and that because of the Jewish people there, and said they couldn't keep it in stock. They wouldn't do that kind of stuff when they went to the other store and told him he was nuts. But now watch.
like I said, if you open our pantry up, most of the food that's in there is Kroger food. And most of it's decent enough. I've only really had a problem with their meat. Their meat is, I don't like it.
We'll see what's still.
And yesterday, Patty finally said, I think there's something wrong with this meat. And I'm like, yeah, I've kind of been saying that for a while, but it's cheap.
I had a packet. What's those? Little corned beef things in the little packs individual or like
Oh,
a couple ounce.
buddy,
Buddy, yeah,
Yeah.
buddy. I had one of those turn green the other day. And I was like, I don't think the seal's busted somewhere. I was like, I just threw it away. I was like, that is not the right color.
one of the things that the ex-wife and I got in a fight over was I was going through the refrigerator and I found a pack of Carl Budig meat that had expired 8 years before.
Yeah.
Nice.
Still looked okay.
Back to the future.
Yeah,
Probably fine.
probably not.
Oh. You said it was right. Looked all right.
It looked still vaguely like meat. It wasn't fuzzy and it wasn't inflated.
It wasn't discolored.
Meat. The other meat. Yeah.
That's like that Twinkie's still good on that one health food store shelf, and it's what 48 years old.
It's all
Still
separate.
looks like it just came out of the factory.
Yeah.
The can moves sideways. The can.
Oh,
What was I gonna say? I don't remember. Oh, the butcher or the meat department in Monroe, they used to have. They'd make you sausages and all kinds of, they put it in the case for you.
Mhm.
They don't do any of that anymore. Now it's all prepackaged.
It's all done. It's like, I don't know. It's sad. Gonna miss these. You know?
We practice.
Well, they've got the meat counter, they've got the deli counter, but they pre-slice it all and they put it out.
Yeah, it's already practiced.
It's already
It's fine
packaged.
if you want.
I don't like that. If I want it cut right now. I don't wanna wait for it. All right,
Well, that's where it
I'm
comes-
willing to wait for it. I don't wanna
I'd
go
rather
buy
have a
it.
fresh cut, yeah. Not been sitting on the shelf for a week or two or a day or three.
Yeah, and Kroger's overall. Check the dates because they are overall bad about actually rotating their stock.
I watched the guy yesterday while I was sitting in line. I was like, I'm sitting there watching how he restacked the shelf and I'm like, oh, it was first in, first out, buddy. He shoved it all to the back and put the new stuff right in the front. And I was like,
They
Oreo cookies.
the
Like,
the managers are the managers and the customer service people are fairly good about, so if you buy something and it's out of date, they're fairly good about replacing it, but that's exactly how their stock works. They just shove stuff in front.
They
It's like,
change the prices upon the date of,
some places.
I saw it in, what's the name of the market. Mayors,
Myers?
okay. They have bread and fruit, they have different shelves with different prices,
mhm.
depending on the date
They-
of.
they-
Yeah, they go to a yellow label.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Kroger's, the one in Springboro, has been one of the better ones about rotating their stock correctly, even though we have still found stuff that isn't right.
It's hard to.
Usually though, if you find something that's not right and you tell the manager, he will make damn sure that it's fixed, especially at,
Cause there's
Springboro.
farms if they don't.
yeah. But
Most people don't know any of that, but
he, they also discount, like they will have a little section of day old bread, maybe. Bread rotates pretty fast. It gets bought up pretty quickly, but. So you might be able to buy a loaf of day old bread like $1 cheaper, maybe even $2 cheaper.
what happened that made name bread go to like $8?
What happened to Kroger brand going from $1 to $3 a loaf? Bread is cheap.
Like $8 for 2 slices.
You can make bread for yeast, sugar
You
and
can't
salt.
get yeast anymore.
Oh,
You know how hard.
I
it
haven't
is
looked
to-
for yeast yet.
How
in a
hard
while.
it is to get yeast?
Myers,
Does Myers carry it?
Yep.
That's
in
like-
the glass jars and in the single-use packets.
Do they?
Yep.
I say.
I'm
nobody
pretty sure
carries that kind
Springboro
of stuff anymore.
has yeast.
How you can't even get,
You just
Jello or
have,
pudding you wanna make at Kroger's anymore.
you just have a crappy Kroger's. Go to a different Kroger's.
Yeah.
Get a cherry
they
grape.
are pretty
Yeah,
different
one ought to be
depending
as
on the
Yeah.
occasion.
I haven't been to in a Kroger's in.
I was gonna say. They're so bad out there, just the volume of people in them too, cause you can barely walk through them.
It sounds like you just have a crappy Kroger.
Come on out, I'll gladly give you a tour.
I don't know if I want
They
one.
turned half of it into a freaking clothing store too.
Oh, it's a marketplace,
Yeah.
a
'Cause,
marketplace.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in there and buy Carhartt t-shirt for
See, I never
60
understood that.
bucks.
I never understood. Middletown is a marketplace, and I guess they're trying to compete with Myers, which is across the street. But I go in there, I don't think I want to buy this. I go to Kroger's to buy groceries. I don't go to Kroger's to buy other stuff.
Socks.
Yeah. I have gone, I've gone to Myers to buy stuff,
Yeah,
and on the way out, see something in the grocery aisle and go, oh, well, okay,
oh no, I go to Myers to get groceries.
really?
Yep, they're,
Groceries.
most of their groceries are very good.
Yeah.
But like a t-shirt there is $12.
Yeah.
Well, their clothing prices are crazy.
So I buy Hot Wheel cars.
Mhm.
Meyer and board games. Myers and Target have the best board game selection anywhere around. They're not the cheapest, but it's the best selection. Meyer and Target also have the best selection of Hot Wheel cars. Hands down, the best selection.
Yeah.
So on the way out, I'll walk past the groceries, and I do see some stuff like they have the 5-pack of Kroger or of Kraft mac and cheese,
Mhm.
usually for
$7.
no, it's usually like five and a quarter, something like that. Call patio. How much is the 5-pack at Kroger's? $7. Okay, I'll buy this now because
Next to some cheaper stuff.
No, no.
it's about $1 a box, right? Which is what it should be.
Well,
I remember it at 23 cents a box.
Well, yeah, right. It's certainly not.
I remember ramen going on sale for 12 cents.
Yes, I remember when you could get ramen for a quarter a bag
Yeah.
or.
Oh, 2 for a
Get
quarter.
a case of Spam for like $3.
But Myers is not the place that I go to go grocery shopping. Myers does carry a few things that Kroger's doesn't have,
Mhm.
and those I will go, but it's usually I'm going there to look for cars and
Yeah.
and or board games. And on the way out, I will pick up a couple of the groceries that we can't get at Kroger's.
That's what I need a personal robot for. Get 5 of them. Give them all the same shopping list, let them talk to each other, and send one to Myers, one to Kroger, one to Aldi's, one to Sam's Club.
So for my company, Amazon has hired us to do that exact thing.
Really?
Yes. We are taking the inventory and pricing every competitor to Amazon
Really?
on every product.
That's everybody.
Yeah,
If you're not Amazon, you're an
like
enemy.
we're doing it to Publix, Myers, Kroger's, Big, whoever. And they're paying us out the game, and it's like, that just seems fishy.
They want to undercut everybody or
Well, they have
put
a
everybody out of
database
business.
on how big and what the volume is for that location and area, and know what they need to supply.
How
I really
quickly
don't-
they could get a product from one spot to your house,
Yeah.
kind of deal. Cause that's the thing, right? I mean, you still have to kind of wait for Amazon, even the day shipping deal.
So,
Yeah.
so this other thing which I just mentioned that was brought up, I found this awful interesting thing too, back in like February and March, when I was dealing with fraud things at work. There's been job postings for all the inner cities for The government jobs through a third party contractor that started like, it was called Hags or something, Hagrids or. Anyhow, they're paying $250,000 to $300,000 and they're usually hiring 1 to 2 per city of distribution logistics.
Okay. So drivers to
No,
bring something from one spot
like
to another.
city coordinated. Distribution, like. I can't remember how to explain it, this term off the top of my head, my brain's blanking. But like they're going to control. The supply of resources to people. And then like government positions for. You know, and I thought it was awfully interesting because like all the blue cities got about like 300,000, like Columbus, Cincinnati, Chicago, and then like other cities that were like they're governed by Republicans. They're paying them 100 if they even get one. Most of them didn't, which I thought was very odd. Like they're going to clamp down what food supplies are in inner city. This is really weird. But yeah, there was like, because the search term I used for the people that were cloning are, I get all of those job postings, so like. It was just like, I'd see like the 3 or 4 fraud ones and then like 300 job postings for this. Company that was hiring for the government, and I'm like that just. I dug into that a little, and it just looked really fishy why the government was hiring these people for this, you know.
Well,
Position. But yeah, it'll probably get whacked in February or so when Elon Musk shrinks the government $2 trillion.
or sooner. I am. I'm not really a fan of Elon Musk's, but
I think it'd be very entertaining.
I think he'd be very entertaining, yes. Entertaining.
I mean,
Until you disagree.
well, you know. We're still
Well-
working with 20% of the staff.
Is it?
Yes. Seems just fine to me, but
I haven't been on Twitter and whenever he took it over, I pretty much stopped using it.
really,
I only call it the service that used to be Twitter.
The service formerly known as Twitter.
I use.
I
chat
refuse
with people
to.
on CBL News because it's the only place some things get actually posted.
Come on in.
Yeah,
Howdy.
Until 7?
Yeah.
It's 10 minutes, okay. Give you guys your 10 minutes.
I
Do you need it? Do you guys need it? Yeah, we'll
Not
just-
for, once you guys have it to your full time, so you're good.
No,
your battery says that it's charging, but it's lower than it had been earlier.
it's not charging. It's broken.
it's burning faster than it's charging.
Even when I got it from my friend Vicente, it never charged. And it's a very new battery. I take that. I think it tried to charge once,
Ah,
but it's not working.
I had somebody bring me a laptop